Okay, we're going to change gears here a little bit. Talk about voting machines, my favorite subject. All right, you should have a copy of this handout, which was given to the clerk earlier. It was also given to the Ways and Means Committee and the Budget and Finance Committees last week. We're here to bring your attention to the 2025 budget item 1451, which calls for spending over $34 million for ExpressVote XL voting machines to be used in Suffolk County. I don't have time today to go over why these machines are bad for Suffolk. We have already documented the problems numerous times. However, we want to raise your awareness. If Suffolk County purchases these voting machines, we can expect repercussions. A lawsuit has already been filed against the New York State Board of Elections to stop the purchase of these machines in New York State. The lawsuit was dismissed due to a lack of standing, partially because no machines had actually been purchased at the time of litigation. Since that time, 1,000 machines were purchased by Monroe County, which has provided a basis to continue litigation statewide. In response, we have formed a statewide coalition of voter integrity groups, which will be taking action to prevent further use of these machines in New York State and guarantee the continued use of hand-marked paper ballots. You should be aware that Congress is considering legislation that will require hand-marked paper ballots for all federal elections, and if passed, will conflict with the purchase of these machines. Ironically, if you purchase these machines, you'll be aligned against us with the manufacturer, ES&S, and the voters and taxpayers. You will end up using our taxpayer money not only to buy the machines, but to fight us. The manufacturer has demonstrated that his deep pockets will most likely drag out any litigation, dragging the county along. This will be a lose-lose situation for all of us. We need a transparent process. There are 4 vendors out there that incorporate hand-marked paper ballots and excellent, less expensive voting machines. Let's get formal proposals from all of them, not just ES&S. Let's avoid litigation. If anyone's interested, there's a link to a video on the handout I gave you. And for more information, you can contact Smart Elections. That's one word, smartelections.us. Okay, so thank you.
Good morning. I've appeared before this legislative body in the past to bring up some election-related concerns. This has included accuracy in our voter rolls, citizenship verification, and most recently, a pending purchase for new voting machines in 2025 that will cost well over $40 million by the time you add on storage, security, and miscellaneous updates. I want to thank some of you in particular who have responded to my concerns and contacted me. Legislator Trotter, Kennedy, Piccirillo, Lennon, and McCaffrey. Thank you for taking the time to respond and provide your input. I would encourage all of you to respond, especially to those of us who take the time out of our lives to appear before you. I also want to state that my comments are not to be critical or construed as criticism of our Suffolk County Board of Elections, and they are not to imply that there is any fraud taking place. I'm simply trying to point out, as well as my colleagues, that there are improvements that can be made and should be made. And I understand that although we have to adhere to federal and state guidelines, we still need to listen to the citizens. And to that extent, I would appeal to you to use the authority that you do have to communicate with the County Board of Elections. They are an administrative agency. They are not elected officials, and that's why we appeal to you, who we've elected to represent us. We have to try to do what we can to solve these issues at the local level. I'll leave you with a quote that I'm sure you're familiar with, and it applies particularly to this current decision to purchase election machines. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Our hands are tied when it comes to a lot of the guidelines that govern our elections, but choosing these machines is one that you have the authority to make a decision on. So please consider the concerns that have been brought to your attention and act accordingly. Please don't make the mistake of buying a machine that is going to be costly and create a lot of problems, as my colleagues and I have pointed out. Thank you.
Good morning, Presiding Officer McCaffrey and members of the Legislature. I am the Senior Advisor for Election Security at Free Speech for People, which is a national, nonpartisan, nonprofit organization committed to protecting our democracy. I am also a Suffolk County resident. I work on this issue of voting systems on a national level, but as a resident, I was particularly concerned to learn that we were planning to purchase the ExpressVote touchscreen voting machines, which people have already spoken about. Because of their excessive cost, we can replace our aging voting machines with new scanners that have been certified by the state. There's 4 different vendors that have certified scanners for less than half the cost of the touchscreens that will be more secure, more trustworthy, easier to manage, and just keep the same system. I wanted to raise some other information with the legislators because I've come here before to share concerns that some of the reasons that the Board of Elections commissioners have been providing to justify the purchase of these excessively expensive machines, which is a waste of taxpayer dollars, were not founded in truth, were provably incorrect or false. And since I've been here, I've gotten more information from FOIL documents that show that some of the other claims that they've made are also unfounded. I know that the commissioners told the legislators that the privacy boost cost $3 per day per month to store, which was ridiculously expensive. I got the contract with the storage company and it costs about $1.29 per month per booth. I can share copies of the page from the contract, which shows this. I also have with me a letter from the Republican and Democratic commissioners from Northampton County, Pennsylvania, who wrote to their county commission earlier this year, urging them to get rid of the ExpressVote XLs because of the problems that they've had with them. And in this past November, they had problems yet again. The machines caused lines of 6 or 7 hours in Northampton County. If you saw on the news people waiting 6 or 7 hours on November 5th, that was because of the ExpressVote XLs. In Philadelphia County, where they also use them, they also made news because people were waiting 2 to 3 hours. This is how the ExpressVote makes news, because it causes long lines, which can cause voter suppression. Another thing that I received via FOIL showed that that the commissioners had suggested that they have to purchase ballots, pre-printed ballots for hand-marked paper ballots, the amount of 110% for all registered voters. There is nothing in the state legislature, in the state code or regulations that requires this. It's not true. But I got the printing contracts, and it shows that they don't actually even purchase it. It's not that they're making that choice. Unfortunately, they don't do it. They're not actually purchasing that many ballots. So I can share any of this information. I'm happy to meet with any of you one-on-one. I also have the copy of the letters from the Republican and Democratic commissioners from Northampton, as well as the part of the contract. Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you.